Happy Friday, everybody. I am Chris Gore from Film Threat. Hope your morning is going well. Mine is pre-coffee, as John Manaling was saying in the chat. Yes, I have not had my I haven't had my coffee yet. So if you are on the West Coast, it's early morning, grab yourself a cup or maybe a second cup if you're on the East Coast. And to our friends in Florida, hey, stay strong, Florida. The whole country is rooting for you, except for the people that aren't. So there you go. It's unfortunate, the divided times we live in, but I am here undivided. You have my undivided attention. What was the segue I was going for? These are the kind of things you get when it's pre-coffee, but I am here with you. It's another weekend at the box office, and whoo boy, it's going to be interesting. All right, let's get this thing started, folks. Let's get this thing started. It's a Friday Film Threat Livecast. Alan Ng is joining me very shortly. Alan Ng.
Do you mean to have that background?
Man, all right, I'll change it. I'll change the background. There we go. Put a big smile on
Smile, everybody.
There. I don't know. Here we go. How about a generic background? Let's do that before we get things started, because it's going to be an interesting show today. Alan, how's it going, man? Alan Ng, editor.
Good.
What's going on?
The outlook on television and movies is not good.
Well, look, I'm really enjoying House of the Dragon. I know some people complained about the big time jump. It's 10 years. You have now the offspring of the characters that we've been following, and we're starting to get the drama of the offspring. And I for one love it. I actually love the time jumps. Events accelerate quickly, and the show doesn't assume you're stupid, and it's asking you to keep up.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and I think we grew accustomed to it quickly. I mean, there's a point where you just have to accept it and move on. I think I did that during the episode, so at least I'm good.
All right, well, let's get to see who's here in the chat before we kick off today's show. We're going to be talking about the big movies opening this weekend. And what else are we talking about? I don't think we have an interview today. We don't have an interview, but we do have a special treat for you. We do have a special treat at the beginning. Alan got something in the mail.
Oh, yes.
He's going to, no, not yet. Not yet. You're going to share it with us later.
Okay.
But let's see who's in the chat here as Alan stars the best comments. So who got to watch Bros? That would be me. I
did not see it.
I made a deal with Alan that he had to keep watching Quantum Leap. I actually think Alan should keep watching Quantum Leap, Rings of Power. Like, after having seen Bros now, I got a bad deal. We'll talk about it. Shucksy is here. It says, yeah, you got to do scary movies the whole month. Can't pick just one. Okay, for sure. Daniel D, who's a member, I'm going to check out Smile because I'm always up for horror. Yes, it's a horror movie. We'll get into it. I have things to say. Dom T, my God, these thumbnails just keep getting better. Yeah, well, thank you to Glanuccio. Glanuccio recently moved to Florida. I think he's okay with us telling you that. He is fine. He has reported to us that he is doing fine, but his internet is bad. So he is more than likely not going to be with us today. So Alan is going to be taking care of things. on the moderator. He'll be the one starring your chat questions.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful if you unstarred the chats.
I'll do it. Look at us making it up as we go along.
I know.
MC Hale, Jens Anderson of Tarai, who's a member. Hail chat. Hail Sauron, says Scott. John Manalang says happy pre-coffee Chris Friday, everybody. And Thoughts on Fitness says, thanks, Chris. I dipped out of movie and TV shows back in 2021. Wow. You got out just in time. You guys watching all this shite? You deserve a medal. I'm a similar age to your good self. However, you were right about RRR. Yeah. I don't know what the however is all about. Thank you for saying I'm right about RRR. I am seeing the movie again today. It is a screening at the TCL Chinese Theater in Hollywood, 1,200 seats. That's huge. The last time I saw RRR in a theater, there were 500 seats and it was 100% full. You had to it's one of those, like screenings where you got to raise your hand if you're sitting next to an empty seat because people were standing, couldn't find seats. I think we're going to be in that situation tonight, 7 p.m. And SS Rajamouli will be there. And I'm more than likely going to be shooting some video of the event. I'll be shooting some video and pictures. So I will share those on our community tab and probably just some special exclusives for members as well. So there you go. It's the first time SS Rajamouli has done a public Q&A about the film. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's a lot of celebrities are talking about going there. Edgar Wright, Adam McKay, they're attending. And a lot of people from Hollywood are going to the screening. It's crazy. It's turned into this it was just tickets were available to the public, but I'm super pumped about that. So thank you, Thoughts on Fitness. Omar94 says, is Bros as good as reviews are having it out to be? You will soon find out. You will soon find out. And Alan Horkin, we have a bingo. Yes, I think a guy named Jim emailed me and sent a bingo card to us. And I think, do we need to add anything, change anything? We'll do an upgraded graphics version. So, but it was a great sort of kickoff to the Film Threat Livecast bingo card. So awesome. Holy Hand Grenades is back and says, morning stream. CD Stein 69 for $9.99. And I got to thank him for this, which I will be drinking on his stream. So there you go. That's coming soon. Hail Alan, Chris Allen, and the FT chat. Have you seen that Bros came out? Hollywood has more on the way. Just saw a new trailer of Spoiler Alert with Jim Parsons that looks like a clone of Bros. I saw that Spoiler Alert trailer, and I immediately, as I do when I find anything like that on the internet, I send it to Ryan Cannell because I want to see him do a reaction video. But I saw the trailer for Spoiler Alert. It's basically a more earnest, less comedic version of Bros. At least that's what I could tell from the trailer. Bethany now is a new member. Thank you, Bethany. That's great. We love that support. So, but before we kick off our reviews today, Alan's got a big package, says Adam Iglesias, and that's true.
Actually, a big package, yes.
Alan did get a big package. Let's find out what it is. Alan, why don't you hold up the package? Obviously, hide your address.
Speaking of big package, you want to make me large?
Oh, I'll make you large and in charge. How about that? There we go.
Ooh, hold on.
Here we go. You've got a much better camera than I do.
I know. I got to actually.
No, your camera's good.
Okay, I'm tearing the address label off. But it arrived.
Ah, there you go.
The Rippaverse
kind of spoils it.
The Ripper, I know. But I mean, just the fact that he went out of his way. He didn't have to print boxes, but he did. And
I get the sense that Rippa, young Rippa, Eric July, he really cares about fans. That's the sense that I get from watching him over the years. And he has been planning this for 7 years. It's a new comic book universe. This character is sort of the lead character of this universe. ISOM. I'm told it's pronounced ISOM.
ISOM.
Some theorize that ISOM stands for in service of mankind. That's a theory. So, all right, let's see what's in the box.
Here we go. Yes, we're doing our first unboxing on the
Right.
Film Threat Livecast.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh my God, they really packed it well, so it would be protected.
So yeah, I got my plastic bag, got my protector, but there it is. Woo! Cover 1, I believe, or cover A.
Oh wow. I got cover B. I ordered cover B.
Yeah, I was like I bought mine like the day it went on sale. And so I was like around, I think 250,000, somewhere around there.
Oh wow. Well, I tried to buy it on day 1, and the website was jammed. That's a good thing. That is cool. Can you flip it open a little bit? Let's get a little taste of what's inside.
We'll do it anime style and go from the reverse.
Right. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Look at that. Love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. As I awkwardly hold this. There we go. Look, there's some action right there.
Wow.
But yeah, the artwork looks amazing. I mean, honestly, it's better than what Marvel is putting out right now in terms of artwork.
That's great.
Yeah, there we go.
That's awesome.
Nice action page there.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, should have bought 2 just to keep in the bag.
Right. Love it.
Yeah,
so
there you go. So I'm excited to read it.
Cool. All right. Well, let's go to some quick chat, and because some people are talking about this, Alan.
Yeah, I know
we're doing this. Okay. All right. Let's go to the chat here. Fear the Turtle for 10 says, since it's the internet, I thought I'd get crushed in the chat Wednesday for liking Hocus Pocus, but I didn't. Cheers, chat. You guys rock. Credit to Chris and Alan for encouraging civil debate too. That's always my favorite thing, like going to a comic book store, which is something I used to do. I do not do that anymore. I still go to comic book conventions, but I used to go to a comic book store every week. Dave's Comics in Royal Oak, Michigan was my store. Then it was on Melrose, Golden Apple Comics. And Golden Apple Comics, there's several locations, but I went to the one on Melrose Avenue. So that was my comic book store. There's Comics Factory in Pasadena. And there you go. But I would go every week. And one of the great things was just to sit there and argue with people. Now, in the debates that we would have, there's no one that's necessarily right. There's no one that's necessarily wrong, unless you're talking about the first appearance of Wolverine, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? If you get into those kind of facts, like, yes, definitive. But in terms of your preferences and what you like in terms of comics, I mean, that's, or like when you get into, who would beat who in a fight, that's a common comic book debate. I love going into like exhaustive detail about how possibly some maybe perhaps less powered beings could defeat more powerful beings. That's always the great argument. But yeah, thank you, Fear the Turtle, for that. Yeah, no,
I should say regarding Hocus Pocus. So all through my review, I was like, I never saw the first one. I'm sure people who saw the first one will like it. I talked to my daughter who has not seen this one yet, but I said, I mean, you liked Hocus Pocus, right? And she goes, it was great. She used the word great, and she doesn't use that often. So I'm very worried about whether she's going to like Hocus Pocus too.
Well, I mean, we'll find out, right? We're going to find out.
I found out tonight.
You're going to watch it. You're not going to watch it with like your email address emblazoned.
No, I paid Disney. I have Disney Plus.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Fear the Turtle 21. Dempsey says civil debate back in the day included insults and slander. It was arguing and it was fun and awesome. People were taught to have thick skin back then. Hell yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's just like, oh, come on, you're an idiot. And then you would just like, but face-to-face debate, I think it's different when it's in text. People don't hear the inflection. They don't hear that you actually respect the other person. You can hear that. I was once told by, when I was back in the day when I was working in television, and I had someone coaching me on doing voiceover, and they said, smile when you do voiceover because people can hear your smile. You can't hear a smile in text. So yeah, Dempsey, 100% like, and I do believe in like, respecting other people's opinions that differ from your own. I think there are certainly lines not to cross, but yeah, like,
the venom you have online, you would not transfer that to a face-to-face conversation. I think you would hold back calling someone a racist or a misogynist if you're in person, and you'd actually wait for them to actually say something racist.
Right. I just the bar is so low for being a misogynist or a racist. It's not liking a TV show or not liking a character, even though you've supported other characters in the past that you happen to. So this whole attacking the fans thing, I don't understand why there aren't articles that this is a losing strategy, that this is something terrible that the studios have to back off on. But
actually, Midnight's Edge just posted a video just about the fan baiting.
Yeah. It's gotten disgusting. And someone did a definition of fan baiting. Where is that? It was a Twitter.
In fact, that's what Midnight's Edge was talking about. That
I was talking about the fan baiting Twitter. It was like a Twitter thread where somebody just went through and defined what it was. Solomon Thornton, I still go to my local comic book store. They are owned by a family. My brother went there when he was younger, and so did my sister. I've been going ever since. It's a tradition. That's great. I assume you're probably not buying a lot of new stuff. John Witchboy, it's a cookbook. Oh my God, that is one of the best. To Serve Man is one of the best Twilight Zone episodes ever. It frightened me as a kid. I remember being terrified. I remember I couldn't get to sleep that night because Twilight Zone was on at like 11 at night on weekdays, and I'd stay up and watch it, and that particular episode scared the living hell out of me. Even though I look at it today, it's kind of cheesy.
I saw Soylent Green like 7 years ago, knowing the ending, by the way. And when I got there, it still creeped me out.
Yeah, frightening. CD Stein 69, can't wait to get my copy of issue 1, cover B. I got cover B. Bill T, love the art style. Anonymous, I got the same one a few days ago, cover A. I love it. I love all the support for young Rippa, mainly because the thing that is concerning to me is, why do people have such a venom for Eric July? You can disagree with his political opinions, completely understand, 100% understand. But here's a guy who is entrepreneurial, worked his ass off, created a company. He should be a model or an inspiration to others to do the same. Definitely be an inspiration to just like, okay, well, go and make your own comic book. There are plenty of crowdfunding. I get comic books on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I buy them. Like the way I look at it is, it's kind of like how comic books are ordered. It's like a pre-order, right? So an indie comic, an independent creator can go and say, hey, I need $5,000 really just to print a comic that I've already created. So if you'd like it, here's how much it costs. And if you want some extra stuff, you'll get extra stuff if you give me a little bit more money. I love that. I love it. So I've contributed to documentaries, indie films. I contributed to a horror film. This is like maybe 5-6 years ago. They finally finished it and got it out, which is totally, I don't care. It's fine. It's called The Head That Wouldn't Die. And it's a remake of a movie it's also called The Head That Wouldn't Die and The Brain That Wouldn't Die. And it's an exploitation movie from the 50s about he's a doctor. His girlfriend, he and his girlfriend get in a terrible car accident. Her head is dismembered from her body. He revives her head and then goes to strip clubs to find a suitable body for his fiance. And it's
remade it.
Huh?
They just remade it too.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is I contributed to an indie film remake of it. Did they?
Oh yeah.
And then there's also the version that Frank Henenlotter made called Frankenhooker. That's basically the same plot. So, Frankenhooker starring the great James Lorenz. Look up James Lorenz. And I also want to say on a side note, as we're going through chat questions, I really appreciate the chat. If I'm off, I can't believe we were talking about She-Hulk, and I was like, Annihilation, and I'm thinking like it's Abomination. Everyone in the chat was like, "Don't worry, he's on a roll." It was hilarious. So I just want to say thank you to the chat. Had my facts wrong, and you busted my balls, but you weren't particularly cruel about it. And yeah, Abomination. God. And I did watch the newest episode of She-Hulk, and I thought it was pretty bad. It was pretty awful. Everybody's waiting for Daredevil. I think they're just gonna have him in the last
there's
episode.
only 2 more episodes left. Now I'll say this: we don't have to go full review of She-Hulk, but it's basically, this is how women write men. This is how women write dialogue for men. And on the flip side, Kids in the Hall did it. They dressed up as women, and they, that was their interpretation of how women spoke. This is the exact flip flop of that.
Right. Sanjuro Shinjutsu. First Hocus Pocus is a lot of fun. Bethany for 2 says human composting is getting us close to Soylent. Yeah, they've actually talked about eating human meat. Look up, there are articles about that now. And human composting, in terms of using fecal matter, that is, I'm sorry if this is way off. We usually talk about TV and movies here. But and independent movies in particular. But yeah, you can use human fecal matter in the state of California. It's legal for your gardening. So if you're wondering why your neighbor's yard smells like shit, your answer is right there. Hocus Pocus was one of my family's favorites growing up. It was a classic, corny Hollywood movie, says Bleckenstein. And Scott says, Alan must have been stoked that She-Hulk hooked up with an Asian dude. What happened, Alan?
I'm trying to. It's my dog treat box. All right. So she's not whining.
Dog there?
Yeah, she's been whining.
Okay.
She's been very needy lately, and
all right. Well,
wants to hang on me. Yeah. Pretty stoked. But then the end.
Yeah, but then the end. Of course, it's revealed that he just hooked up with her to. I don't know. There's some sort of plot against her, and it's 4chan or
what is it about this hooking up culture that's going on now?
I don't know.
All right.
Luther Talbert, Chris, my daughter's 12 and loves scary movies like 80s classics, Conjuring and It Part 1. I won't show Black Phone yet. Feel it's a different league. Yeah, I would say Black Phone for a 12-year-old would be frightening because the horror in Black Phone is reality. It's real, right? So feels like it's a different league. She wants to see Barbarian. What do you think? I don't know, borderline 12. You got to know your kid. I mean, my daughter really liked Alien. My daughter saw it when she was around your daughter's age, maybe a little older, and she then fell in love with the artwork of H.R. Giger. So I really think that you got to judge. I think Barbarian, and here's another thing too, when it comes to kids and watching horror. There's a difference between seeing it in a movie theater, darkened theater, you're enveloped, there's no distractions, you can't look away. You can look away, but there's not as many distractions as there would be if you were watching it at home on your television. My feeling is, I would say, yes, you can see Barbarian when it's out on video on demand, but in a theater, I would say it would probably lead to nightmares and potentially some trauma.
Yeah.
But
I would say my daughter's 14 and she wanted to see Black Phone. She loved Black Phone, but I think at 12 she wouldn't have said that. On the flip side, she doesn't want to see Smile at all. I think
there you go. There you go. Cool. And I think that Anonymous says, if I was an executive at a studio, I would have a clause to not attack fans and crack down on that. I would go further. I would say that if you're working for the studio, your talent has a value, a stock value, and you diminish it when you do certain things on social media. So you need to hand over your passwords to all of your social media accounts, and all posts must go through a department. And that's what I would do. These actors/directors are ruining business for studios, so they need to be kept in check, says Anonymous. Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think that 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we were talking. It seems like there's a deliberate effort to incite fans, warranted or not.
Well, if you look up that fan baiting thread on Twitter, just look up fan baiting on Twitter. It's a great thread. I don't know who this was. I think just a random person who's sort of defined what it was and talked about the strategy with studios and why it doesn't really play. Hey, over 300 people watching right now. 300 people watching. So do us a favor, do us a favor, slap that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. You can subscribe to our Film Threat email newsletter for updates. Just go to filmthreat.com/newsletter. Also, you can, guess what? Because you asked, Film Threat is now on Discord. There is a Film Threat Discord. I will post the link in the chat. Where is the Discord here? Okay. I'm going to post the link for the Film Threat Discord. And then I'm copying the link. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. So join. Alan and I are both on it. And so please do that. Also, if you would like something for free, send us a self-addressed stamped envelope. Send it to Film Threat, 5042 Wilshire Boulevard, PMB 1500, Los Angeles, California, 90036. Send a self-addressed. You're basically sending me an envelope addressed to you with postage already on it. The bigger the envelope, the more stuff I'll send you. I'll send you DVDs. They're just lying around. I'll send you this nifty Film Threat sticker. I got all sorts of cool stuff. So there you go. So here is, I'm going to put the link in here, and that is how to get directly to our Discord. Wait, did it go through? I don't know if it went through. I'm not sure. I'll try again.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
All right, it's in the chat. Okay, maybe star that. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Oops. You tell me to start. Then you start.
There we go. Look, it's as simple as going to discord.com/invite/YFW capital PUXKE. As easy as that. That's how you can find. I guess you could just search Discord, right?
I don't know if it's that easy. I think you need the invite link.
Oh, do you really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, dang. I'll have to put that link in the description then. We are short. Oh, works. Joined. Great. Thanks, Alex Fung. That's awesome. Let's go through more of these chats. We're going to launch into our reviews, but we just, and also support our channel. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. You can get the shirt I'm wearing now. It says Film Threatist AF. So I was at some like swap meet thing. It's called Jackalope in Pasadena. And I saw some guy with like an old timey mustache, and he was so skinny. I thought he was going to like fall over just from the 5 miles per hour wind that was gusting up in Pasadena that day. And this kid was wearing a shirt that said Feminist AF. This man was wearing a shirt that said Feminist AF. And I thought that's a good idea for a shirt. How about Film Threatist AF? And that's the shirt that I'm wearing. And you can get that at shop.filmthreat.com. Let's get through these last comments here, and we'll launch right into our reviews of the movies opening this weekend. Dempsey says Daredevil walks on screen for 3 seconds and says, "What?" at the last scene of the last episode. Expectations subverted. All Twisted Up says, "I'm waiting for Fozzie Bear to grab a plunger and attack Alan." Yeah, it looks like it in the background there. Latino Slant, Paulie, how's it going? Sup,
hey,
Chris
Paulie.
and Alan? What's going on, Paulie? Hey, Paulie, I'm going to be in Hollywood tonight. We're meeting up at Dave & Buster's at Hollywood and Highland. We're meeting at Dave & Buster's about 4 for happy hour. Then at 6 o'clock, we're heading over to the movie theater to see RRR, my 5th time in the theater. 5 times the charm. Alan Horkin, you're welcome to meet us, Paulie. Alan Horkin says, an interest in H.R. Giger could lead to a career in entomology. Not sure I spelled that right. Studying insects. Yes, entomology. Close enough. Whatever. It's the chat. You know, you're not writing a book or an essay here. Scott says, Chris, stop putting it off. Let's hear about Bros. Okay. We'll get into Bros. Gabriel Quiroga for 2. I saw the thumbnail and I was like, oh no, Chris lost. Yeah, well,
yes, he did.
It started as it was going to be a bet, and then like everybody in the chat said it should be me, and then I tried to weasel out of it, and I said, well, if I see Bros, Alan has to now watch Quantum Leap every week. Which Alan?
Honestly, I'd rather watch that than Rings of Power, but
okay,
I'm sure we'll get to that at some point.
Okay. Kevin Apple says, my wife took our 12-year-olds to the theater to see Midsummer. During a few scenes, they turned and looked at her like, What the WTF? Yeah, like, okay, yeah, Midsummer, no. Midsummer disturbed me. Why would you take it? And also, if you're going to take a kid to a movie that's kind of borderline, I think it's important to see the movie first or learn something about it, read some reviews and whatnot. But there is a difference between movies watching at home, which I think a scary movie at home with the lights on and it's a safe, you're at home, kids feel safer at home. I do think that those films are much easier pill to swallow, so to speak, at home rather than in a movie theater. Yeah, Midsummer. Why would you, Kevin? Look, if that's the worst thing your wife has done, all right, fine. You're raising 2 kids. I applaud you. It's not easy. Sanjuro Shinjutsu, movie streaming Discord nights. I'm so down. Okay, yeah. Whatever you guys talk about, like, the whole thing is we have a very active chat, and I appreciate there's like 350 people watching us right now. But now you can go to the Discord and just continue the conversation. Plus, we can look at it like during the week and go, oh, shoot, I guess everybody wants Alan to go see Bros now.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Scott Slaughterbeck says, I'm sending a pallet to Film Threat. Is that okay? A pallet? A pallet of what?
No, he's going to send you a wooden pallet and then you just pile it up.
Oh, I see. Well, as long as you pay for it, I don't care. I would send, here's what my recommendation. Send one of those priority mail boxes, flat, put on the postage, mail it to me, and I will put DVDs in there. I'll give you a copy of my book, Celebrities Poop. I'll give you a stack of stickers. I'll throw in some good stuff. All right. Okay. Just a few more chat questions, and we're gonna get to Bros. FP Sonny says Midsummer is therapeutic for kids. Is it? I don't know. And then Thalame for €4.99 says, I saw the Bros trailer. I thought it was a satire on woke culture. Oh, it's not. It is not a satire. I mean, it does. I will say this. It pokes fun at gay culture. It pokes fun at straight culture. We'll get into it. I like CD Stein 69 suggestion. Alan should have to go to see Spoiler Alert since Chris saw Bros. It's a deal.
Oh, jeez.
It's a deal. Spoiler alert it is. Jim Parsons.
Well, the way you describe it, I think I'll have more fun. Well, not to say that you didn't have fun.
All right,
I feel like I'll have more fun at that one.
Well, let's get into it while Alan is starring your comments here. We're gonna start. We're gonna start here. Let me get the branding up here. Here we go.
What branding? Look at that branding.
Here comes the branding. Okay. And here we go. Billy Eichner wrote and stars in Bros, directed by Nicholas Stoller, also co-wrote the script. It is I would describe it as a raunchy comedy. There are parts of it that are raunchy. And Billy Eichner's character is a podcaster who is, he's very flamboyant, but he's also extremely opinionated and doesn't let anything go about his opinions. He's also caught up in gay hookup culture, on apps like Grindr and whatnot, just hooking up with dudes, but he never falls in love. In fact, he's 40 years old and he's never been in love. Doesn't care to even fall in love. One night out at a club, he finds this ripped dude played by, I want to get it right here, played by Luke McFarlane, his character's name is Aaron. Billy Eichner is Bobby. And they hook up, but it's an unlikely hookup in the sense that Billy's sort of this scrawny, skinny. He has like this sort of concave chest. And Aaron is buff, beefy. He looks like a Chad, but he's a Chad that's into dudes. So there you go. They have a couple of dates and kind of hit it off where they're into each other. Bobby's day job is, in addition to the podcast, he's working on the LGBTQ plus History Museum in New York City, and he's raising money. And they need $5 million to be able to open the museum. And so you've got with any romantic comedy, you've got your A plot, which is the romance. You've got your B plot, which is the workplace dilemma. And Bobby's friend group is a whole bunch of very flamboyant, very different couples. There's one gay couple that makes a big announcement to their friends that they've invited a third. They're now in a throuple. And this follows the same sort of things that you would see in a traditional romantic comedy. This follows them, but it's all been sugar-coated with rainbows and gayness. Now, and it ends just as you would expect. There's some issues with this. I saw a 6:15 p.m. screening at the AMC Burbank 16, and what I found to be interesting was almost no one was in the screening. There were maybe 15 of us in a theater for several hundred. Same thing with a lot of other screenings. I am a little disappointed that I don't know that the gay community really turned out, because I think this movie would have been more fun to see in a theater with a packed gay audience, because they're going to get jokes I'm not going to get. They're going to laugh in places I would not have laughed. And it would have made the experience of seeing the movie more entertaining. As it is, it was pretty quiet in the theater. Yes, there were some laughs, but they were few and far between. I'm sorry to say. Let's get into it for a second. I think there's a big question that I'm avoiding. And that big question is this. This is a gay-themed film, but can straight audiences enjoy it? And unfortunately, the answer to that is no. I think it's actually, it's one of those things where I think it's like, and Norm Gidney is one of our writers who writes for Film Threat, happens to be gay, also a critic, has no interest in seeing the movie. And I get the sense that the movie's not gay enough for a gay audience. And it's maybe it's too vanilla for a gay audience, but it's way too hardcore for a straight audience. And I would say that that's absolutely true. I mean, there are sex scenes in the movie. So without I'm not going to go into detail about, I sort of gave you the breadth of the story, but one of the first, in the opening of the movie, Bobby, Billy Eichner's character, gets on an app, hooks up with a dude, and who he meets on Grindr. They kind of look each other over. They take each other's shirts off. They lay on the bed, and they both bring themselves to a finish. They don't physically show anything, so none of the sex in the film is graphic, but you know exactly what's going on. There are discussions of tops and bottoms and when people do it places. What they're doing in their nether regions is made very clear, even though it's not shown. So it's sort of soap opera-ish in the sense that there are maybe a sheet over covering the parts, but you know exactly what's happening. There's a sort of impromptu orgy that happens. There are a couple of those. And I'll just say this. It's not for me. I think it's definitely too gay for a straight audience. And I wanted it to be funnier. And I'll say this. There are gay filmmakers that I happen to love, right? A lot of them. John Waters is probably my favorite. I love John Waters. I wouldn't say necessarily that John Waters makes gay films. He makes films for audiences that like to laugh. They include gay characters and always have gay and very flamboyant characters and cross-dressing characters, drag queens, like Divine, a very famous drag queen. But I found Billy Eichner's character, and first of all, I'll say this. I like Billy Eichner. His Billy on the Street, hilarious. Billy as a side character in a movie or TV show, awesome. Billy for 2 hours is a bit much. And he is the lead in your movie. He is in nearly every scene in the movie. So, the way that they've marketed this movie, there's sort of two marketing. One, I thought that first trailer for this movie was pretty awful. It basically told you this movie's not for you. And the end of that trailer ended with saying straight people, they had a good run. They even kind of make fun of just regular gay people, like cis male gay, like I didn't even know that was a thing. And first of all, I never use terms like cis because I think they're stupid. And I think that the term cis was invented to diminish men. And I'd never use it because it sounds like sissy. And I think that's stupid. And I think people make up these words, and I choose not to use that language. I only use it when I'm talking about it. And so I don't think we need more labels. Okay. I came from the generation that was like, hey, don't label me. Don't label me. And I'm still part of that generation and will remain so. Okay. So this need to label, give yourself 15 labels for everything, including pronouns. You're not that interesting. It doesn't make you more interesting. It doesn't make, to me, what makes you interesting is what's here, what's in your head, what's in your heart, what you're passionate about, those things. I don't care how you dress. I don't care what your hair color is. And that's fine. I also don't prejudge anybody that, I actually love the fact that the one thing I like about California is people just feel free to just be whoever they are, like externally. It's like, I applaud that. That's great. Having said that, what I care most about is what's in your heart and what's in your head. Okay. Getting past that, I just don't think this is going to appeal to a straight audience. And I think a gay audience looks at this as this is leaning into gay stereotypes. There's another problem with this film. The history, the LGBTQ plus history museum. There are a bunch of scenes where there's a cast of sort of flamboyant characters, all different types, right? You've got one of the characters is bisexual, another is trans
female.
There's just all type lesbian, like great. And I'm told that they're very proud of the fact that all of the cast members of this movie are gay actors. They're all gay actors playing gay characters. Fine. That's great. I don't have an issue with that. This LGBTQ plus history museum, they make a lot of effort to suggest that Abraham Lincoln is gay. And I know that people have talked about this. Lincoln was he was a gay president, whatever. And it's pushed in this that, Lincoln is part of this. They have this, that he's supposed to be, he's gay. And they're like, well, it's a theory. And a huge conflict, the big conflict that, of course, just like in any romantic comedy, and by the way, this is a little spoilery. So if you do plan to see Bros, okay, it's getting a little spoilery now. Okay. If you care about this. So this whole thing with the LGBTQ plus museum, they go to visit Bowen Yang, who's this famous TV producer, and he wants to have a ride, not like a roller coaster ride, but a little minecart ride of gay trauma. And it's like the ride takes you through all this gay trauma, and he'll give him the $5 million if to do the ride. And it's like, okay, we'll do the ride. So the museum's a little ridiculous. It's played up to just be kind of a caricature, but there is a thing where Bobby is meeting the parents of Aaron because now their relationship is getting more serious. They're exclusive. Okay. They're now like exclusively hooking up, and they consider bringing in thirds, which I guess is a thing, but they're like exclusive. And then he's meeting the parents, and Aaron's mom is a school teacher that teaches second grade. And Bobby's like, well, they should learn about LGBTQ stuff. And she's like, well, second grade's a little young. They get in this huge fight at dinner, and it separates, of course, Bobby and Aaron, right? Which, of course, it's a romantic comedy, so you already know how it's going to end. But that is an interesting thing, because what they're doing is they're taking the parental rights bill from Florida, aka known as the Don't Say Gay bill, and they have firmly inserted it as a thread in the film, because the main conflict is about, should second graders be going to this LGBTQ plus museum and seeing all these people from history who happen to be gay. The gay people have been around since the beginning of history, and so we're going to celebrate them at this museum. So that ends up being a conflict in the film, which is, of course, resolved by the end. But that was the part that had me going, no. I don't want to be lectured to at this thing. Like I did not enjoy observing that debate take place on social media, and I don't want to see it in a movie. So that sort of was like a bridge too far for me. Was that I'm like, look, I like, and first of all, I like gay humor. I think it's fun. I have been to drag queen brunch at Hamburger Mary's on Santa Monica Boulevard. I think drag queens are hilarious. I think they're fun. I don't think they're for kids. ever, under any circumstance. I think that is a adult entertainment, just like a strip club or burlesque or any of that stuff. Okay. I'm pretty based when it comes to all of this. Especially since I've raised 2 kids. So I think you introduce them to things like H.R. Giger at an appropriate age where you think they're ready for it, right? But second grade for me, hard pass. So this film, I'm surprised 2 things. One, that it's basically not hitting any audience. I think the trailer and the marketing has offended straight people who might actually consider seeing it. Secondly, a gay audience thinks that this is very stereotypical, and it's kind of turned off gay audiences. So I really wonder like who this movie is for. I think it's for people in Los Angeles and New York, and that might be it. And
it sounds like I'm sorry, but it sounds like it's basically a gay film trying to school straight people about.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where it misses on both fronts. It's a lesson for us. But it's kind of a hyper reality for gay people, I think.
Yeah, and it's I'm open to seeing a film like this that could be funny. But I think when you actively like go after like heterosexuals, cis men, just the fact that they use that language all through the film was headache inducing. But yeah, I by the end it was just like that the sort of like push for the messaging in it like really kind of was a turnoff. Like, are we having this lecture now from Hollywood about how LGBTQ like agenda should be inserted in schools and everything? It's like it's so permeated everything that I think there's going to be a backlash against this film. I don't think it's going to do more than 10 million at the box office. It will not be number 1 at the box office. More than likely that'll be Smile, which is a broad appeal horror film. We'll talk about Smile later. But Bros, I think Billy Eichner, part of the problem is Billy Eichner for 2 hours, a little much. But I think what was telling was how they changed the marketing from the initial trailers, which were saying, straight people, this movie's not for you. And then he did these sort of viral things where he went with Jack Black on the streets of Hollywood, just interviewing people and asking them, hey, this is a movie that straight people can love. They kind of changed their tone in the marketing. And he interviewed people on the street. A lot of people said they didn't want to see it. So I feel like that's a reaction to, I just think there's a meme out there, and maybe Alan, you can find it, where it was a meme that like people put out during June Pride Month. It used to be like a weekend, a couple days. Then now it's like in a whole month. And it's sort of what I don't like is all the corporations that just kind of lean into it. It's sort of annoying, but it's a meme of someone holding a giant tuba with the thing, and it's like a rainbow tuba, and some kid is against the wall, and it's like all being like so forced. It's just like, okay, we get it. All right. We get it. But yeah, I won't be seeing it again. I can't recommend it. I think while the sex isn't graphic, it's not necessarily comfortable for straights, I guess. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. And it's like, it's fine. I have no problem. I'm just saying that like, it's just a little much, right? So it's like too gay for a straight audience and maybe not authentically gay to a gay audience. So they're trying to be this middle of the road kind of mainstream comedy. And the other thing is, it's not that funny. A lot of the stuff, like that joke about straight people, they had a good run. Mm-hmm. You could hear a pin drop in the theater when that joke landed. Nobody laughed. So it was weird. And what I was surprised by, why isn't the theater packed? We're in Southern California.
What city were you seeing it in?
Burbank.
No, you should have seen it in West Hollywood.
Okay, I should have seen it in West Hollywood.
Yeah. So this is a rom-com. Ultimately, the question is, well, did the romance work at all, or was it overwhelmed by the broader messaging?
No, the rom-com stuff was fine. The actors were fine. I think all the actors were good. I just think that the script, Like they were trying to think, okay, well, this joke will land with the gays. They'll get that. This joke will land with the straights. This joke will just be for everybody. And I just feel like it was almost, I hate to say it was trying to be too broad appeal, and it didn't work. And like I say, I thought it was too gay for a straight audience, and it was sort of stereotypical gay. So gay audience is probably going to think, oh, this is so annoying. It's still through maybe a heterosexual lens, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there you go. I will be amongst all the YouTubers. I'm probably one of the few people who went to see this movie. But yeah, it's just not a very good movie for what it's trying to be.
Yeah.
Because Judd Apatow has been involved. Judd Apatow's the producer, by the way. Nicholas Stoller directed it and co-wrote it with Billy Eichner. But Judd Apatow has done some great comedies in the past.
So has Nicholas Stoller.
Right. Having said that, Judd Apatow has one major flaw with every single movie he makes. They're always too long. They're 20 minutes too long. Every Judd Apatow, it's like, oh, he's going to put all the deleted scenes in the movie. And that's kind of where we're at. But I want to go to your chat questions and comments here.
Let me just say one thing. It sounds like what happened was the big studio some studio finally gave money to fund a gay rom-com. And they kind of took that opportunity to then throw in, if we got this money now in this audience, we need to start saying things. And so they started piling in messages upon messages upon messages. And now this rom-com becomes second seat to this overall, this idea of we need to expose the world to gay culture and do it through a comedy. And I think when you try to do too much, you wind up watering everything. I think that's what happened here. They just watered down everything they tried to do.
Yeah. Well, look, we have over 400 people watching us live. Do us a favor, slap that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed.
Oh, wow.
Just please do it. We appreciate that. We're this close to 50,000 subs. Let's go through our chat questions and comments here. Amanda Nowicki says, so Bros is all the gay stereotypes rolled into one. They pretty much got every gay stereotype. The whole thing about like beefy guys. Then there's like Eichner. He's sort of, he's not out of shape. He's not a Chad, so to speak. But yeah, it's tons of gay stereotypes. Andrew Rosenfeld says, same sex in the city. Good comment. Everybody in the chat says, is there any straight characters in Bros as a diversity cast? I would say that, although it wasn't explicitly said, I think that Aaron's parents are straight, but there weren't many straight. There were a couple straight characters. There was a family. There was a black family that was at the museum. They were kind of friends with Billy Eichner. I don't know. There were straight characters, but none of them were particularly developed. I don't have a problem with it, actually. That didn't bother me. Everybody in the chat also goes on to say, will Bros get nominated for a dozen Oscars like the Schindler's List? I think it could get nominated for like screenplay or something, just so Billy Eichner gets to show up to the Oscars. I do think it could get nominated for screenplay. Now, I don't think it's very funny. And that's the thing. If this was like over the top, like rip-roariously funny, like great. But it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. Dave T. Geek says, where were all the representation Karens? This is the movie they say they want. See, that's what struck me, Dave, is like, why wasn't this movie packed on a Thursday? Why weren't there a ton of couples? What was weird was when I went to buy tickets, every seat was like one person sitting by themselves. It wasn't like two people. It was like, oh, wow, there's like 15 people seeing this movie, at 6 o'clock on a Thursday when it opens. And there were just like one person. It was weird. I took screenshots of it because I couldn't believe it. It was really weird. Yeah, it's weird. So this movie's out. And what it tells me is I think that this market that is overrepresented in media, right? Let's say the LGBT market is way overrepresented in media in terms of numbers. I think the reality is these numbers, and we're going to see, right? This is a mainstream, because the thing is this, I don't have a problem with this movie the way it is even. Here's the thing, what would have made this movie better if it was just an indie movie, right? If this was an indie movie that was put out by a small studio, and it was at Sundance, it was a Sundance darling, but it's trying to be a mainstream movie. And I just feel like mainstream broad appeal movie for themes that are mostly affiliated with smaller indie movies, it's not, I don't think it's a match, and there's not a large enough audience for it. And so seeing on opening night that the theaters were empty was very telling. It was very telling. I heard your dog.
See, I it's like if it's a rom-com, you want to go in and you want to feel like you're falling in love. That's why Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan did this long string of rom-coms, because we wanted to see them fall in love, and then we would fall in love with them at the same time. But by the trailers, I just felt like it was preaching to me.
Right.
And that I didn't care about the romance or the potential for romance. It was just going to be a stupid comedy, basically. And I think people pick up on that, and that's why they're not supporting this film.
Well, Ramina Jones says, I don't think straight audiences in general are that prudish on this stuff anymore. I think it depends on the demographic, right? I would say the younger demographic is probably not going to care and, care as much. Me, I don't care, just because. Have you ever seen a John Waters movie? Have you ever seen Pink Flamingos or Female Trouble? Like, that is way further than anything. So I grew up watching a lot of, gay cinema, like the stuff of John Waters or comedies. I thought they were great. This is not a great comedy, unfortunately. And they sort of get around the sort of the sort of graphic sex aspects by almost making it like a soap opera, but you know what they're doing. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I thought, like, I don't know. It's not like There's Something About Mary where there's literal, like, in her hair. So there you go. Thank you, Ramina Jones. But you're right. I do think that audiences are fine with it. It's just that, like, okay, we'll make it like it's got to be much funnier. Patrick Lemire says, so when is it on Disney Plus? Well, it's Universal. So it would be on Peacock.
It would be on Peacock, yeah.
Amanda Nowicki, but if we don't label ourselves, how are we supposed to be special? I'm not serious. Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, I never thought to label myself. I'm just like, if I label myself one thing, it's my name. It's my name. Everything else is observable. And I don't feel the need to share details. I feel like when it's weird, when people feel obligated to tell you all those things about themselves, you don't need to tell me that. That's actually kind of personal. Even your sexuality, when people are so open about what their sexuality is or feel the need to tell you, like, where they are on the spectrum, like, I don't care. The only person it should matter to is the person you get naked with. If you're getting naked with somebody and things are going to occur, you might need to have some knowledge about where things might fit, if that makes sense. Okay. But I don't need to know necessarily about somebody's personal life. And it's weird that people are so forthcoming with stuff I don't need to know. I found that this is sort of a new phenomenon, is how many men I've met that feel the need to tell me that they're bi. I don't need to know. I don't know why you're telling me. So there you go. Ramina Jones, can you spoil a rom-com? Not really. I mean, it follows the same story of every rom-com.
Are they together at the end?
Swords and Starships just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Scott just looked at Stoller's IMDb and the dude is sus AF. Does Sex Tape, and then Dora the Explorer, does Bros, and then Goosebumps. Yeah, that's a little odd. Swords and Starships goes on to say, I'm bi and I can't stand LGBTQ movies. Why? Because they're always built around being LGBT, all the approved politics around it. And it's never just about character-driven stories.
It's not about two people falling in love. That's what these stories should be.
Well, yeah,
I mean, three people falling in love, I guess.
Yeah, it's so much about, like, and we get these movies a lot at Film Threat, and there's so much about the identity. And it's like, I just tell me a story about a character that they happen to be gay is maybe it's not part of the story, but it's part of the storytelling. There's a trailer out right now. We're going to talk about this movie next week. I'm very excited to discuss it with you. It's a movie called Tar. It's a movie called Tar, starring Tilda Swinton. She is a composer. She happens to be gay. The story is not about her being gay. It's about music and sound. Go look up this trailer called Tar. I'm seeing it next week. Tilda Swinton, it's going to be, the movie looks freaking amazing. Now, is it a gay movie? No. Does she happen to be a gay character? Yes. Should anyone care? No, because all the other aspects of the story, it appears, at least by the trailer, she is a mother. She's this tortured composer. She's like going through something. It's also like God, there was a great line in the trailer about how she has this weird sensitivity to sound, and she's in the car. It's a brief, quick piece of a scene. She's in the car and like there's a sound the car is making that bugs her, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's happened to me. I'm driving around in my car, and if I hear like something flapping in the back, I will pull over, I will correct the mistake so that the annoying noise goes away. That tells you a lot about me. But definitely watch the trailer for Tar. I believe it opens next week. Swords and Starships, that's great. Yeah. And I have friends that also that like they don't like so many gay themed films. They feel obligated. Oh, it's Kate Blanchett. Oh my God. Thank you, Scott. Kate Blanchett. Why do I get those two mixed up?
Yeah, but Kate Blanchett's not gay.
What?
Kate Blanchett's not gay. She can't play a gay person.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to go down that road.
Yeah. So, yeah. God. This Tilda. Yeah, it's abomination. Kate Blanchett. God, it's my brain, and that's why I appreciate the chat. If I'm upset with anyone, it's me. So there you go. I'm upset with myself. Epic Mike is here. Hey, Epic Mike. Good to chat with you. Love you on Tuesday night's main event. I was watching. You guys had Salty Cracker on. It was a good show previously this week. The idea of a gay rom-com isn't even new or revolutionary. True. But if you believe the narrative that most people hate you, your worldview is you against the world, that leads to bad art. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's kind of the way this movie plays it. But yeah, it's not like none of this stuff is new. They've been making gay films for a long time. Okay. It's not new. VDR says, so it isn't The Birdcage? No. Romina Jones, Torch Song Trilogy, not entirely a rom-com, but lots of rom-com elements. Maybe a better watch if wanting a gay romance film this weekend. Yeah, there are better gay films for sure. Bethel Games, I slapped the dislike button. The degeneratophobia is too much for me. Wait, really? I'm so sorry. You're not being serious. Swords and Starships for 10. AKA Captain Garrett. I'm bi and I can't stand these movies. Never character driven. They imply all LGBT wokeness and life choices apply to all gay and /bi men, exclusionary toward traditional free thinkers. Yeah, I've known gay people all my life. My uncle, who inspired me to move to the West Coast, happened to be gay. He served in the U.S. military in Vietnam. He was a decorated Vietnam veteran with a Purple Heart, and he moved to the West Coast, came out as gay. No one in our family cared, but he passed away about 20 years ago. He was unable to have a civil union with his boyfriend, which is unfortunate. So, yeah, but he was my hero, but he wasn't flamboyantly gay. He was very handsome, looked like Tom Selleck. He was like kind of a manly man. You wouldn't have guessed he was gay by the way he acted. But yeah, it's sort of like, and then I've known other gay people that just don't fit the stereotype of at all. So there you go. Gabriel Quiroga, don't know if LGBT groups can be satisfied in film. An actor isn't gay or not gay enough. Gay characters are stereotypical or not prominent enough. Yeah, it is sort of it's gotten to this annoying thing where it's literally just this sliver of like social media that complains about this stuff. And then what happens is the media pours gasoline on that fire this is how lazy the mainstream media is that they'll quote people on Twitter as that's a news story, right? It's a news story on Twitter. But you're right. Like in fact, when I think about it, like most of my gay friends like hate your traditional gay. You know what they like? Judy Garland films, or they like other types of. And also the other thing is why can't a gay person play a straight person? Can a gay actor play straight?
Ian McKellen.
Also, it doesn't matter to me. Ian McKellen, dude, it's Gandalf, it's Magneto, it's great act. I see Ian McKellen. You know what I see? A great actor. I don't see a gay person. Can we be blinded by these labels and just not care and what people do in their personal lives? Can they just do it and without judgment? Without judgment. I think it used to be without judgment. Now it's like it's like so pushing in all media now, and especially in children's media, which is very disconcerting to see that. Let's see. I got to unstar some comments here.
I mean, ultimately, just tell a story. If it's gay, it's gay. If it happens, but to go out of your way and say, I need to tell a gay story, that I think that's where, you start now focusing attention off of, the relationship between two people and make it something more, some message you have to get across. And I don't think people want messaging. They just want to see two people find and fall in love. That's
exactly. We don't have anyone helping us modding today. Our producer Glenuccio is in Florida, and last we heard from him, he said my internet's not so great, but I know he's okay. I know he's safe. So, but internet cell service may be an issue. Luther Talbert, a member, I served in the army with lesbian women and gay men. Never was an issue because we were part of a generation raised as individuals who judge by character. Let me tell you how important that is. And this is why I admire, professional sports, and I admire the military, because what it is a team coming together based on all different backgrounds and different types of people, but working towards a common goal. And it should not matter who anyone is on the exterior. It's your character. Absolutely right, Luther. And thank you for your service. Barney the Pea Hound, played by Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but also I don't care. I think that Neil Patrick Harris is an entertaining actor.
Yeah,
I think he's very entertaining. I like the stuff. He's great in Starship Troopers. I really love that. But it shouldn't matter, it shouldn't matter. I'm so tired of this. CD Stein 69, dude, Rock Hudson played a straight character for years. No one batted an eye. Yeah, I mean the guy was cut. He was buff. He was manly. He could play straight. He could play gay. I think it was different times. It's unfortunate, he wasn't able to come out. Now I don't think. Now it's a calling card. Now, if you're not, in part of the alphabet community, you're less likely to get cast in things. I think it's actually a thing that helps, right? Would you say that's true, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's experience. It's not your labels, but it's experience you have that makes you a better actor. And to be able to bring your personal experience into the role you're playing. It's not about your skin color. It's not about every label you can throw upon yourself.
Right. Okay, moving on here. How many Asians were in it? That's the important question. Bowen Yang. Bowen Yang was in it. So you got one. I think there may have been other.
That's every film. Yeah, we got one. You got one.
Yeah, well, there you go. And
thanks, Hollywood. Thanks for the one.
Bimo Better became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Gabe Oiticher. Love Chris's honesty so much. That's why FT is one of my favorite channels of all time. Well, thank you, Gabe. I can only be honest. And I think that when you're honest, it's not like I'm not raging that this is the worst movie ever. It's a piece of crap and whatever. Like, no, it's sort of like, it's like this middle of the road milquetoast comedy that's gay themed that I think satisfies neither audience. So yeah. Wait, is Alan growing a mullet? Says VDR.
No, I don't know. I need to get a haircut.
Well, that is 100%.
But if I do, it'll be a gay mullet.
Anime does gay characters a lot better than Hollywood. Why? They're stories that don't revolve around being gay. Mm-hmm. Bingo, Tendu, Kiru. It's like it just doesn't matter. Look, if you know a certain number of people, you know someone who's gay. You're just going to, right? And I don't know. I've been around gay people all my life, so it's never been a thought to me. And I discovered John Waters when I was like 16 years old and loved his movies because his movies aren't about being gay, but I I'm trying to think if all of his movies have gay characters, not necessarily all gay. But I also like sometimes when gays sort of underneath the surface, I kind of miss that when it's like, oh, I know what's going on. These characters are gay, but they will never come out and say they're gay. And it's kind of funny. It's like an in-joke with the audience. And if you were a kid and watched it, you'd never notice it. As an adult, you go, oh, those characters were definitely gay the whole time. Or that's a gay joke. There's a double entendre there. Like, I love that. Like, I love stuff like that where sort of like it was underneath the surface. I thought it was funny. It was just like, I'm in the know. I get it. But there you go. I gotta unstar some of these comments here.
Yeah, I'll say one comment.
I got this.
Yeah,
I got
go ahead.
Dempsey says people used to consider it rude to speak about bedroom experiences, no matter what your preference was. I agree. It's like I say, it should not matter except to the person you get naked with. I don't need you to announce to me that you're of a certain sexuality. I feel like that should be well known to your partner, and whoever your partner happens to be, same sex or not, fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But even rom-coms, I mean, they rarely talked about sex. They did it, but they rarely talked. It was never the subject matter. The only show really that I think about where sex was always being talked about was Sex and the City. But as fun as that show was, it was never really a reality that people had when it came to dating and falling in love and being around your friends.
A few more comments here, and we're going to pivot. Ramina, Bowen Yang, the one funny SNL member. I would agree with that.
I would agree with that. Yeah,
I would agree with that too. No, he's funny. And he's actually good in this movie too.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, first full Asian character. My thought was, oh, he's not going to be any good, and he hit the ground running on that show.
Well, I will say this: the bar is kind of low. SNL has not been funny for a long time. But
they have their first non-binary cast member.
I heard about that. And then someone sort of looked up her Instagram, and it was just sort of, it just looked
really bad.
I say her, I don't know, non-binary. I think I think she's a woman.
No, anyway. They is probably presenting as a woman.
Presenting as a woman. All right. Well, let's go to some more comments here, and make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because our reviews are delicious.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But I love that clip. I was at Phoenix Comic-Con, and I had I was at a booth, and I was like selling books and doing a signing or whatever, and I had a bunch of Film Threat stickers, and I had like a case of Coors Light on ice, and I took the stickers and I put them on because I didn't want people to see me drinking Coors Light at this convention. So I put these stickers on it, and then I just gave beers out to people, and then I just had them do these little videos that said our reviews are delicious. I know it's ridiculous. Dave T. Geek says that's why gay romance movies must be about the gay community, because the community is their necessary vehicle for meeting potential partners. Patrick Lemire says, you liar. Paul Lynde and Charles Nelson Riley were just eligible bachelors. But see, I love that. Charles Nelson Riley was in Lidsville, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Remember
with
Lidsville?
Witchy Poo.
God, I'm going to get that wrong. My brain is scrambled. I'm so sorry, folks.
Oh, no, Witchy Poo was, I'm sorry, Witchy Poo was the other
Witchy
one.
Poo was Puffin' Stuff.
Puffin' Stuff, that's it.
Which rumored to stand for hand-rolled puffin stuff. See, there you go. Matt Guillemette for 5 says, sad that the Incredible Hulk series has a better story and action than She-Hulk. That's true. Oh my God, it's true. The one with Bill Bixby was a great show.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of comedy in
right. Oh, VDR, C-3PO is Chris's favorite closeted character. I mean, there are characters that like C-3PO is basically a gay butler, let's be honest. And also, I love C-3PO, but C-3PO, small doses. Another one I would say is Dr. Smith in the original Lost in Space. Yeah. Oh, Will, my dear boy. Like, I mean, I hated Dr. Smith. He was so annoying, but I love Dr. Smith. He was Will's bestest friend. What was going on there? What was
all I
going
know
on?
is if he wasn't there, the Robinsons would have gotten home. But for some reason, he kept them around.
And Paulie Latino slant Gasian, right?
Golly.
And we have new members, Swords and Starships, and Gabriel Quiroga, new members to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate that. Kevin Apple has a comment here. My wife insists on knowing nothing. This is referring going to the movies. I mean, absolutely nothing about movies before seeing them. I thought the Midsummer thing would have taught her a lesson, but no. I think you just got to look if it's rated R. Don't go. And then Scott, Top Gun volleyball scene had me confused as a kid. Yeah, it was very homoerotic, but there's nothing. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with something being homoerotic in a quote straight movie. So what? It's whatever. I don't know, man. We're so like, this is stuff we never used to talk about. What is it an entertaining movie? Great. There you go. But now it's all this talk of identity and this and whatever. It's gone way too far.
Now it wasn't good, but it was diverse.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was diverse. Yeah, diverse doesn't make things necessarily good. I think you know when diversity is really good? When you don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
When it's just a really good character. Did they talk? I wonder, back when the Star Wars prequels were being made, did they talk about diversity all that much then? Did anyone really care?
Well, look at House of the Dragon. Look at
House of the Dragon. I don't think people aren't talking about diversity when it comes to House of the Dragon. It's just like,
because they don't bring it up in the show. It's just a family that's black.
Right. Although I love the design of the family, the way that they've got the sort of bright white dreads is sort of cool. Even the children have it. It's like it's like a look. I like that the houses are kind of distinct. You can tell them apart, and I like that aspect of it. And they're kind of mixing the houses.
Yeah. But I think if they were more true to life, I think everyone should be marginalizing that family.
Now, I got to ask Alan a question. Did you see the Rings of Power episode 6?
Yes, I did. Did you?
Are you prepared? I did the same thing I did. I came home last night after seeing Bros. Okay. I went to watch Rings of Power and then realized, oh, Nerdrotic is on talking about reviewing it. So I watched that. Then I switched and I started watching it, and I did what I always do. I fell asleep watching the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Alan,
I could talk a little bit about it. I mean, the thing about Rings of Power is I've gone full MST3K on Rings of Power. I watch it only to comment about it. But it's weird, but this whole story, I just don't care. And I feel like I'm just going to be saying this week after week. I don't care what's going on, because it just is. It's just such a badly written and badly conceived television show. But I will say, episode 6, objectively, is probably the best episode of the series. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're blending two storylines together, and that's where this episode stayed. It's with these two storylines. It didn't pop around a whole lot. Finally, the Numenorians have made it to Southland. I don't care about the show so much. I don't care about getting lands right or people's characters right. So bear with me. So the reason I like this one better is there's a lot more action in it and a lot less talking. But even then, it feels like, there's a war going on. The orcs are coming in and invading. And so the people have to prepare for battle. And during this preparation, they say encouraging things to one another. Then the battle happens, they win. And then they look at each other and say, hey, you're great. And then the other person will say, no, you're great. And this is just kind of the thing that's going on through this series. It's just moments for people to get together and talk like they're Shakespeare. And they're doing a horrible job at it. Let me just bring up a couple things here. I'm gonna pull up a screenshot here. Oh no, they They won't even let me do it. Okay. Yeah, it's I don't know. Okay, so there's a scene where Arendir, and Bronwyn are together. He has to hide whatever that object is, the half sword, and this is where you go full MST3K because he's holding up this half a sword, and he's saying, she asks him, "Where will you hide it?" And then he responds, "No one must know." And then he says, "Not even you." And so guess where he's going to hide it? He's going to hide it up his butt.
Are you joking?
No, but that's the thing I'm thinking. And I have to believe that everyone who saw that scene were thinking the exact same thing. He's going to hide that thing up his butt. There's a part where Galadriel and Halbrand are, he's about to kill a deer, Adar. Again, I don't care how to pronounce these names. So he's about to kill him out of revenge. And she utters the words, "One cannot satisfy thirst by drinking seawater." Now, I get it. He's thirsty for revenge, but this whole thing of you can't satisfy thirst by drinking seawater, it's just one of those things where she says it, and I'm sitting there going, so what does seawater have to do with this? Where again, these writers, they're just trying, they're being pretentious. They're just trying to make normal conversation sound Shakespearean, and they're failing miserably. Okay, I'll just go down two more things and then we'll be done with this. Twice in the show, the show lacks creativity. Twice in the show, lead characters are engaged in hand-to-hand combat. The lead character is about to die, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the villain is killed, and then there's another lead character standing over, having killed the person, and then they give themselves a look of, "Hey, thanks, well done." That happened twice, which means they can't come up with new ways of killing, or of killing villains, or creative ways of having just basic combat. Then the last thing I'll mention is there's a horse chase. Galadriel is chasing Adar, and then Halbrand comes out. He grabs a spear, he holds it out, and then the horse trips over the spear. And then, of course, they cut to a scene where the horse then gets up and walks away. Again, a very tropey thing. I don't know. I hate the series. I hate the series so much.
Alan,
I'm upset that you are not watching the series. I have to go.
No, I am watching it. I fall asleep every single time I watch it. I nearly fell asleep listening to your review.
Oh my god! I mean, it's just
you know what it is. It's like a soap opera, a badly written soap opera in the world of Tolkien, but not true to Tolkien. And it's I don't like the soap opera aspects. I did find this episode, what I saw of it, to be at least like they got rid of the Harfoots and the dwarves, like the subplots that are going nowhere. Yeah, but I don't. I can see kind of where it's going, but I'm just because we're 6 episodes in. I mean, when you look at like shows like Breaking Bad may have had one of the best, if not the best, first episodes of a show. Best first episode where you're like, oh my God, like I'm all in. You meet his family. You see what a miserable life he has. You see him so emasculated in his life, whether it's at school or at home. His son is literally has a physical disability, and kids bully him. He's working a job at a freaking car wash on the side because, being a science teacher at a high school doesn't pay the bills. It has one of my favorite lines. It's his birthday. I believe it starts as his 50th birthday. And his wife serves him breakfast, and it's this like sort of fake bacon. And his son takes a bite of the bacon and says, "This bacon tastes like Band-Aids." Such a great line from Breaking Bad. But what I'm saying is there are memorable things. There's nothing to me in the Rings of Power that I've seen so far that has been memorable or relatable or Like it really to me feels like at every level inexperience, not with the production so much, but everything from last week, that fight with Galadriel.
Oh my god,
that fight. And there's a very good video I recommend, Shadiversity. This guy Shad, he's in the UK, and his whole channel is talking about weaponry from a former era, and he dissected that scene. It's like a 1-hour video just about that scene, talking about how ridiculous it was. So yeah, I'm glad you're watching it. I don't even know why we're still talking about it. Like, I think
are we almost over?
Are we almost? I think there are 2 more episodes.
I'm seriously, you need to watch an episode before this show. And
I tried to last night, and I saw a little bit of it, and I was just like, all right, fell asleep.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I caught it at like 9 in the evening, so I think they're releasing them a little bit early.
Wait, well, let's go to some chat questions here before we talk about Smile, which will be the last movie we talk about for today. VDR says, I'm still confused about the sword up the butt scenario. Where'd he hide it?
I know. See, this was even more stupid because I mean, the way they're talking and the way he's holding it, it's like, if I were on MST3K, it's up the butt. But so he hides it, but then Theo, the kid, he's hiding as they're talking about it. So therefore, he must have followed him. He hides it, and then Theo knows where it is. None of that is ever shown on screen, And then the thing that got me the most was the declaration of love between Arondir and Bronwyn. You and I could be together. We could raise a family with Theo. And I hate the show. I hate this show so much.
Yeah, it's not even. Here's the thing. At this point, it's not even fun to make fun of because it really is just sad. It really is just sad. VDR goes on to say, Chris, I would rather watch General Hospital than Rings of Power. The Weather Machine storyline is a classic. Oh my God, I can't even believe I remember the Weather Machine. I remember the Weather Machine with, what was the name of the family? They had the yacht, and it was the guy, and I think the actor, was it John Kalikas, who was like the patriarch of the family?
Is it Cassidines or something? Or
Cassidines.
Yeah.
The Cassidines. Oh my God.
It's weird that we know this. Yeah, no, I watched a full year of General Hospital.
Well, I watched a couple years of it because my mom worked, and when I came back from school, my aunts took care of me for a summer, and they watched it every day. So I was forced to watch it. This is back at a time when people only had one television. They had one television in their house. So you had to be very good at making an argument as to why your show should be seen. Why we're watching Batman. We're watching Batman today at 5. I'm sorry. Then it's Star Trek. And then we're watching Ultraman. Yeah. And then Johnny Sacco and his giant robot.
That was a time where the only time I could watch television was right after school. And so I would come home, watch General Hospital, and then right after that was Robotech.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know all those. That's so funny, VDR. I love that. Gabe Oiticher says the Pings of Rower sucks because the writers try to make every line of dialogue so profound. And it's just annoying. I ate breakfast. You ate breakfast? I ate breakfast. It's so stupid. So I'm trying to perform it for you just to get, but it's true. Like, everything is so meaningful. They're not writing Shakespeare here. Chris, stop making Alan watch Rings of Power. Cardinal Sin for $1.99.
My thing is, you need to watch it too. You keep coughing out. You're making me do this.
Well, I will say this. Not the Batman says, good news is Rings of Power wanted to be progressive, and it is progressive, getting progressively worse. And John Witchboy, I like this. Alan has seen what Chris has not seen. You have not seen? Yeah, good. I haven't seen it.
I've got to say something about the progressiveness. I mean, as diverse and progressive as the show is supposed to be, the episode ends with the declaration of Hallbrand as king. The cis white male. It all comes back to, hey, we're diverse, we're woke, but we're really not. Here's our white male as our leader.
Yeah, well,
it could have been an Asian. They could have gotten an Asian guy to do it, but no, No, they got a white guy.
Abigail says Tolkien was actually profound. These writers are empty. And Spaceman, giant robot, launch. I know that line. By the way, Johnny Sacco and his giant robot is actually on Prime Video right now. Okay. So, and this is great because like I love like old school Toho monster movies and whatnot. If you go down a rabbit hole on Prime, let's say you're watching Rings of Power, Johnny Sacco and his giant robot is on there. There's all sorts of Gamera movies, the old school Gamera movies, and some of them like are in Japanese with subtitles. I've never seen those versions. They're different. So really, really good stuff.
I'm hoping to watch Shin Ultraman this weekend.
Ultraman for the win, says Tucker Time. Love it. Yeah. And there you go. Not the Batman says, no, they couldn't make the king an Asian. Only white kings are bloodthirsty for war.
That's true.
Alan.
That's true.
So there you go.
Pillaging, enslaving. You white people, you've got that one down. Good job.
Yeah, we got it down. We got it down. But let's switch gears here. Also, really enjoying talking to you today. Yesterday was not fun. It was not fun. I had my friend Eric Weber did a live stream talking about bros, and all I tried to do was bait him with chat comments, and he didn't use one of my comments. I was on fire in the chat because I said on a scale of 1 to Richard Simmons, how gay is bros? And I kept trolling him with jokes in the chat, and he never posted any of my jokes.
Did he mention that you were doing this, or did he completely ignore you that entire broadcast?
Yeah, pretty much. But what can we do? All right.
I did notice. I think he said in one of his in his last video before this one that Smile was the best horror film this year.
He's wrong. Yeah, he is 100% wrong. And let's get into it. All right, here we go. Smile is the new horror film in theaters this weekend. It is directed by Parker Finn and stars actually Kevin Bacon's daughter, Sosie Bacon. Sosie, is that the correct pronunciation? Saucy Bacon? Saucy Bacon maybe sounds good, but she plays a character named Rose Cotter. She works at a hospital, and the very beginning of the movie, a young, disturbed woman comes into the mental ward and kills herself. With a giant smile on her face, she takes a razor and cuts herself across the neck, and it brutally just dies right in front of Rose. She witnesses this, and of course, she's incredibly disturbed witnessing this suicide right in front of her eyes, and strange things start to happen. She goes home to her boyfriend. She is divorced from her husband. The boyfriend, Trevor, is played by Jesse T. Usher. Of course, you know him from The Boys. And she keeps seeing things. She sees people with creepy smiles on their faces, horrifying smiles. No one will believe her. It's the boy who cried wolf. Every single time something creepy happens, no one sees it except for her. And this goes on and on and on. At her sister's having a birthday party for her, it would be her nephew, and she buys him a little toy train. We see her wrap the toy, and she's going to go to her sister's birthday party. But in addition, the cat has gone missing. What happened to the cat? Well, of course, what happens? She goes to the birthday party. Can you guess what's going to happen? The bloody, dead body of the cat is in the present that she wrapped. She thought she wrapped with a toy train, and the young boy opens it and is horrified at what he sees. These weird visions continue to escalate, and she goes down a rabbit hole and starts to investigate through her ex-husband, who is a cop, the woman who committed suicide. She saw someone commit suicide in front of her just a week previous, and leads to an entire chain of people who someone has committed suicide, died in a horrific way in front of them, and then 1 week later, they end up doing the same thing. And the way that it's passed on is seeing someone commit suicide, okay? The movie is an hour, 55 minutes, and I kind of like my horror films tight, a good 90 minutes. It feels overly long, plodding, slow. It's basically, the plot is lifted from It Follows, which I think, with the exception of the ending of It Follows, which I have a problem with, I think It Follows is a much better movie. It's, It Follows was an STD. This is It Follows with a smile. That's what Smile is. I think that one of the things, and you're going to think, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but Saucy Bacon, the actress, has some very distracting moles. Maybe it's because I sat like in the front part of the theater when I saw the movie. I was like in the third row when I was at the screening earlier this week, and she has these moles, and I'm thinking, like, she needs to get those moles checked out. They're not small moles. These are distractingly large moles on her face, and I'm thinking, like, she could have cancer. She works at a hospital. So what? Alan,
How was her teeth? How was her teeth?
Her teeth are fine.
Okay.
Her teeth are fine. The moles that are the
thing.
problem. But they were just, look, Alan, they were distracting, okay? They were distracting moles. Anyways, it all builds up to finding out how to break the chain without having to kill herself. Right? And the only way to break the chain, because she meets a guy who broke the chain, the only way to break the chain is if you kill someone else. So now, in order to break this curse, she must murder someone, but she doesn't want to commit murder. That sort of gets us, about halfway, 2/3 of the movie. I'm sorry if that was a little too spoilery for you, but a lot of this is in the trailer. I thought that Saucy Bacon, I didn't think that she was a great lead. Again, back to the moles. I think they were just distracting. I mean, this is why you do like screen tests with act. What?
She said she was a bad actor because of her moles.
She was fine, but the moles are now people are going to accuse me of being mole phobic.
I know. You are mole phobic. I mean, really.
I'm a mole phobe. I'm a mole phobe. If that is mole phobe a thing, I guess it is now.
It is, yeah.
So, yeah, I got bored. I could see everything coming from a mile away, and all the scares in the movie are jump scares. They're all like shock. Mm-hmm. Actually, one of the best jump scares, which is in the trailer, which actually did make me jump. It's in the trailer. Her sister kind of walks up to her car, and then her head goes and kind of like goes like this and dangles in front of her. But these are all just visions, right? That are like contributing to driving her crazy. So I feel like, and this is true with Bros too, the over the top praise of both Smile and Bros, way overrated. Both of these films are wildly overrated. I think the better horror movies this year, I'll list them. There are 4: Black Phone, Barbarian, Pearl, and X. If those movies are playing and you have not seen them yet, these are better horror films that don't rely on jump scares. If a movie just relies simply on jump scares, I think it's cheap. And I will say that, like, the movie is a lot about suicide and mental illness. Not that, I mean, I don't believe in trigger warnings, but I do think that there are people who are going to have problems with this. I can just already tell that there are people that are going to have problems with this. Oh, and Cal Penn plays her boss. And he's very concerned about her mental well-being.
Oh,
but look, I can't recommend Smile. I can't recommend Bros. It's kind of it's a weekend for you to catch up on maybe something else playing at theaters or on video on demand. These are my recommendations. Okay. Your mileage may vary. You might see Smile. My colleague, Eric Weber, loved Smile. He thinks it's better. It's one of the best horror films of the year. I strongly disagree. When you compare with Barbarian, which I've seen 3 times, Smile, I had no interest in seeing that movie again. Like I say, they're all jump scares, and jump scares are cheap. There needs to be something deeper going on psychologically, and it's her unraveling into madness is not worth 2 hours. It did not earn its nearly 2-hour running time.
Oh my
so
God.
let's go to the comments here. CD says Pearl and X were terrible. All right. Fair enough. I like Pearl better than X, but there you go. VDR says Chris talks like a 1930s Hollywood producer. You never work in this town again, do you? Take care of the moles, kid. Well, this is why they do screen tests with actors. You look and it's like, do they have a face for, look, you know what? I can just tell you this straight up. I do not have a face for the movies. I look, and this is what happens to me all the time. I look heavy on camera. I look heavy. Okay. Camera, they say adds 10 pounds. People see me in person like, oh, have you lost weight? It's like, no, you've just been watching me on YouTube where I look heavier. And so there you go. Yeah. It's like the camera loves certain faces and not others. Definitely the camera does not love me, which is fine. 8-Bit Snake Boy says, shame, Smile sounds like a very generic horror movie. It's generic. Now, if you're in the mood for a horror and you've got AMC A-list, hey, would I begrudge you going to see it? No. No. Go ahead. Check, go ahead and check out Smile this weekend. And then next week, let's discuss it. Or we can discuss it on Discord. In Silence of the Lambs, fear was intense with simply a silent scene with a night vision camera, says Fuzzy, who's a member. Yeah, it kind of annoys me that like when a horror movie is dependent on jump scares, I feel like that's a weakness. It's a weakness to me, and I don't personally like it. Solomon Thornton says, so the true horror of this film was the mole. Chris and Austin Powers both have a fear of moles. Molly. Yeah. Maybe they should have called the movie Malignant, says not the Batman. Shucksy is back. I get distracted by moles too, Chris. You aren't the only one. Only in movies. I don't care. In real life, nobody cares, right? Nobody cares. But in Patrick Lemire. Mole. No, it's distracting when it's on the big screen. And because I think I sat in the third row of the movie, it really was.
It was a 10-foot mole. Yeah.
Yeah. A man in the wiki, the cat was not dead. It was sleeping. That was probably the one shocking scene, except I saw it coming from a mile away. It was like, the cat's missing. Where's that cat? Then you go to this young boy's birthday party. What do you think is going to happen? CD for 2 says, Smile should have been called Mole. Thank you for the 2, CD. Appreciate that. So it's The Grudge meets It Follows, CD. Yes, it is. That's what it is. But with a smile. And Dude B says, so it's The Ring again. Yes, The Grudge meets It Follows meets The Ring. It is definitely all of those. And there you go. John Manling, Gore, the great master baiter. What did I bait, John? What did I
No,
bait?
you're baiting Eric.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I was. With all my dumb. Yeah, no, I was totally bait in the chat. And it was funny. And then people are like, hey, you got to come back in the chat because, Eric talked about Bros last night. He talked about it for like 10 minutes and moved on. But then Eric sent me a message saying, the movie's not that gay. And I'm like, dude. Dude. Pearl was much better than X. Her monologue was great in Pearl. Sifax, who's a member, thank you. I agree. That monologue is amazing. Mia Goth. Great. Jump scares are just cheap carnival trick. I was actually startled during a jump scare in Rings of Power, and that show is crap, says VDR. Yeah. Random note from Shelby AC. I finally sat down to watch The Munsters and genuinely liked a lot of it. No, it isn't perfect, but better than the trailer let on.
Yeah.
Alan?
By the way, it's on Netflix, so everyone can watch it. I will say it's just that first half when they're in Transylvania and everyone's weird and crazy. It's just really bad comedy. It's horrible, bad comedy, bad improv. Herman was the best thing about the first half of the movie. When it gets to the second half, when it becomes the television series, yeah, I agree. It's much better.
Dave T. Geek, you should write a horror movie script based on cursed moles. That could be interesting. Maybe something contained in the mole. There you go. And Scott. Chris is a face for the internet. Yeah, whatever. I really don't. I don't care. I never. I always consider myself more of a writer, especially in the 90s, doing, magazine and writing books and whatnot. But I've sort of been forced into service being on doing television and YouTube and whatnot. So, yeah. Yeah. So, oh yeah. And Abigail says, meets the Truth or Dare smile. Yeah. It's a little like, it is a little like Truth or Dare. It is like that. You're right, Abigail. Yeah. Sean Hu says, I liked Mockingbird Lane 2012, but I understand why a lot of people don't. And
I really like that. I really like Mockingbird Lane too. It's I was surprised that they didn't at least give it a couple episodes.
Yeah. Not the Batman. Watch the new Monsters in black and white. It looks better. You can tell it was shot to be that way. You put it to black and white. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's a setting you can find on your television. But yeah. All right. We we did the ISOM unboxing. We're because we don't have an interview. We don't have an interview today. We've got time for your random questions about whatever. We'll just.
Do you want to go over Andor at all, or do you want to wait on that?
You want to talk about Andor episode 4? Let's talk about Andor.
Do you remember it specifically?
I watched it a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago.
It's when Cassian joins the mission, the assault team, basically.
Right.
It's also Mon Mothma. She has the senator party, but she also meets up with Stellan Skarsgård's character.
Yeah, I feel like this is the precursor to. I mean, the show is a slow burn, right? Mm-hmm. The show is a slow burn. I'm still convinced that Disney did the Disney Plus streaming series. They have not figured out how to make a good one. I think Mandalorian is the closest to that because there have been, more than a few good episodes of The Mandalorian. Excuse me. Not true for Boba Fett. Excuse me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. No, I just need a little drink of water here. But Boba Fett was disappointment. Kenobi might be one of the worst things that's ever been on there. And as She-Hulk has played out, I think it's basically come to light that there is not one single solid, well done Disney Plus Marvel show. I think they're terrible. So Andor has potential, and I think something big has to happen in episode 5. Because while I like the look, I'm not bothered by the slower pace. Something needs to occur. The thing that did bother me about episode 4 was when Cassian Andor is sort of integrated with all of his fellow, members of the
rebellion.
team.
Rebels.
What's that?
Rebels, basically.
The rebels. When he's joined by the rebels, they're going to pull off this heist. They're basically stealing the payroll of a bunch of people from the other part of the galaxy to fund their efforts. How many conversations could we have about, I don't know, Andor, can we trust him? Can we trust Andor? I don't know. Do we think we can trust him? I trust him. Well, I don't really trust him. Jesus. Well,
that's what happens when you have 12 episodes and you have to stretch a series over basically almost 12 hours.
Again, this is all set up for something interesting to happen, and it better happen in episode 5.
Yeah.
Because, I like the look of the show. I like that it's a different tone from your traditional Star Wars. I think, I like the fact that we're seeing sort of the middle management of the galaxy and sort of the blue collar workers that formed the rebellion, and the show takes itself seriously. There's no quippy jokes. There's no cute robots. The creatures aren't even cute. No like lightsabers. It's just this is why it's labeled the Dark Times, right? I do like the stuff on Coruscant with Mon Mothma and Stellan Skarsgård's character, where he's basically every character in the show has some dual nature, right? Here's their public facing, who they are, and then who they really are. And Mon Mothma is kind of this person that's like redirecting funds around the galaxy towards their efforts, trying to hide money places. And Stellan Skarsgård's like, you see, he's setting up this heist. At the same time, he's, you know, a dealer of ancient galactic antiquities at his shop, but that's just a front, right? So I like the setup, but episode 5, come on, guys, we got 12 episodes here. Something big has to happen. Something big. Some more characters have to die, I think, and there's got to be consequences for actions. Right. And the other thing that's interesting, about this with the prequel, we know Mon Mothma, she's not in peril. I'm not sure how interesting that's going to be going forward, because Mon Mothma will live. She has to give a speech in Return of the Jedi. Okay.
Right. But what I like about it is, she's part of the Empire at the moment. And where's that shift going to occur? And then how is she going to get her way out of it into the rebellion? I think a lot of what Andor has going for it is what the other Star Wars series haven't been able to do. You have a quality team behind it, which is something Kenobi never had. You have characters here, and I think, it's weird, but we're praising the show for what the other shows didn't do. This show is great when it comes to character development. Mon Mothma, is a fully developed character, and we're seeing her, and we're seeing growth. And this is a legacy character, so to speak. And so she's interesting, and they're not treating her with kid gloves or overly deifying her. I just appreciate the fact that, that no character ever feels like they're throwaway characters, like they're there just to service the plot. There's this new guy who's going into this mission with us. We don't know him. At least they're recognizing that, and that he's nervous about going in, being found out. It's just, they're doing so many right things. And I think we have a healthy skepticism, so we'll see what happens. But I think, I saw one comment say basically, so far so good. We'll see when they screw it up, basically.
Yes, it was John Manaling. Andor so far so good in my book. Yeah, I would say that. I just think it's there needs to be some there's got to be something to lead us to larger things. This has been a build-up, but it's a 12-episode series. We're 4 episodes in. There needs to be a payoff. The heist, something goes wrong. Yeah. Maybe they've been set up. There are betrayals. I want to see. What I'm really enjoying is House of the Dragon, which I think we'll talk about that next week. But thanks, John Manaling. Also great to run into you at the movies. I had just gotten out of Smile, and I did not love it. I may have told you that. But there you go. Dempsey, Mon Mothma. And Anonymous says, not bothering with Andor.
We can't blame you. That's all.
Right. Heinlein, agree with Alan. Disney dollars, please and thank you. And
he wants a cut. Is that what he's saying?
Luke Korlowitz Art is talking to Scott. Scott says, and Andor doesn't have the multi-storyline ensemble like House of the Dragon, so it's another problem for Andor. And fourth 1,000 for 5. Thank you for that. This is my problem with streaming in general. They take a movie's entertainment curve and don't multiply it, but stretch that shit out. Boring. Yeah, it's like, I do think that like something like Boba Fett or the Boba Fett series could have just been a movie. The Kenobi series could have been a movie.
Or 4 episodes maybe.
Or maybe 4 episodes. And they're stretching it out to get you to, they're not doing the binge model. The binge model, I really feel like that's going to go away at Netflix. Mm-hmm. Disney Plus is already going to offer, I believe it's before the end of the year or early next year, they're offering an ad-supported, cheaper option for Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So there you go. But they really are. All of these things seem stretched out. They would have been better as movies or shorter series. So there you go. Patrick Lemire goes on to say, Andor sounds like it underlines the streaming trap. A decent movie idea stretched into 8 hours. Not everything is series. A lot of good movies end up as, is anything going to happen series? True. Mm-hmm. True. So, and Not the Batman says, let's talk about a company licensing Bruce Willis's likeness to use for deep fakes.
It's funny. The technology is called deep cake.
Is that true?
It is true. There's a documentary I just reviewed called Tech of the Future. It's called Deep Cake, and they're able to take basically Bruce Willis's face, put it on your body, and give it dialogue, and you can get a technically a Bruce Willis performance from this technology.
You're kidding?
Nope. And he's I guess he signed up on it.
Bear down, Adam. Yeah, I saw that story today. It's true. Wow. Thank you for being a member. Oh my God. That's kind of horrific.
Yeah, Tech of the Future. That's the name of the documentary that features it.
Tech of the Future.
Or Tech to the Future. I should say.
Tech to the Future.
Yeah.
Cool.
It opens with a flying car.
Man, that is bizarre.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap things up today on a short show because I have to get to Hollywood. I'm going to be seeing RRR for a 5th time with SS Rajamouli. I will be, I'm going to be filming a bunch of videos of the Q&A. I'll throw that on our community tab, some short videos. And I'll be filming people in the theater. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. There are RRR fans. That's crazy.
By the way, I should say I'll be at the ACA Cultural Project tonight at Harmony Gold in Hollywood. The screening tonight is Riverside Mukalita. The whole weekend is a film festival of Japanese films. You saw one earlier this week.
Yeah, Missing. It was great. I want to talk about Missing, but when it's out.
And then I'll be moderating a panel about can Japanese dramas make it in the U.S. And so we've got some Hollywood types coming in to talk about that.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, Alan, have fun at the ACA. I'll be at RRR this weekend. We'll be talking about a bunch of other films next Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Come back and join us and join the Discord. Join the Discord. Where is can we put that back in the chat? I'll find it. I'll find the link.
You unstar it.
You know what? I'll put it on the community tab also. So you have it. I'll post it in the chat right now. But we want you all to join the Discord. Kara says RRR. There you go. Bear down. Have a good weekend, guys. No Vesper. You know what, Oteo? We've ran out of time on Vesper. We're going to talk about Vesper next week. But bottom line is, and I'll get into it next week, I recommend this movie. It's from IFC Midnight. I believe it's opening today in limited release. It'll go wider. It is a science fiction film about a dystopian world. Look up the trailer for Vesper. We'll talk about it next Wednesday in more detail. Romina Jones, been hearing good things about Vesper. You will like it. A young girl sort of surrounded by this dying world. And I want you all to see it. I think that you'll really enjoy it. And Dempsey, Film Threat watch parties on Discord, please. Yeah, we could do that. I'm gonna post right there our Discord. You can join it. I'll post it on social media, the community tab, so it'll be out there for you all to see. I don't know. I'm just excited we get to spend our time together. I look forward to doing these live streams. Love to chat with you about movies and television, and in particular our indie films that are worth seeing. I think Vesper is among those films. Missing is among those films. Missing is a Japanese movie that involves a serial killer and social media that is shockingly good. I can't wait for you all to get to see it. So these are just some of the recommendations that are happening. Alan, anything else you want to add?
And then I'll be in San Diego tomorrow at the National Comedy Theater.
So if you want to see Alan doing his thing at the National Comedy All right.
7:30 tomorrow in San Diego at the National Comedy Theater.
Awesome. And I didn't get to do a rant today, but I think that there's going to be a rant coming on Wednesday. A freaking IKEA chair. All right, I'm just I like to see the look on Alan's face when we play these videos. But Alan, what should we do?
Let's get out of here.